We're just going to record the meeting so that the people that are unable to attend can still follow along and get caught up as far as any information that we go through and any questions. You guys have got yourself logged into the school community.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Feel free. A big part of this process is about sort of being involved in a group with other people that might be struggling with some of the same issues or trying to achieve some of the same goals. So it is a process of being able to support each other and to lift each other up and move forward. So if you're having a rough day, if you're having a good day, just share it in there and support each other from that perspective. If you've got questions, fire away, because sometimes somebody in the group might be dealing with something similar that they can offer some support, and we'll chime in and help out as best we can as well. So please do participate in that regard.
And so far, so good with school?
Yep.
Yep. Easy to use?
Yep.
Good.
Good.
How about you, Peter?
Yep. So far, so good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good.
Good. Good. Good. What we wanted to cover today, just from an information perspective, especially with it being our first group call, we just kind of wanted to review what we call the 4 pillars of arthritis management, make sure that everybody's kind of up to speed on that, and then kind of outline a few things that we think are going to help people succeed with respect to improving their health in this program. And then we're going to review what we call the Daily 5, which is kind of a goal setting process to make sure that at bare minimum you're getting the right activities in your day that are going to help move you forward. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kim, why don't you start off on the 4 pillars?
Yeah. So the 4 pillars that we were basing the program on starts with gut health. Really, that's the foundation of the 4 pillars. We went through that yesterday. That was the first lesson yesterday. So just want to kind of go through that just quickly, just on why, and basically just why we're using each one of these pillars and how they're going to help you. So gut health, really, if we've got a healthy gut, it supports a balanced immune system, which really is critical to reducing systemic inflammation, which is associated with arthritis. So that imbalance in gut bacteria really can worsen that inflammation, which is going to contribute to the progression of your arthritis. So we want to kind of nail that gut health right off the hop so that we're just getting on track right away. So so poor gut health really leads to that leaky gut. So a leaky gut is a condition where toxins and undigested food kind of seeps through into the gut, which triggers inflammation. There's a whole process to it. Sean's probably better at explaining that in detail, but that's basically what it is. So when our gut isn't processing properly, things seep through and it causes a reaction in the body, which causes inflammation. So the focus is on gut health to help repair that intestinal lining, which is going to reduce that autoimmune and inflammatory responses. Okay. And then once we get the gut on track, then we really start benefiting from the anti-inflammatory nutrition. So they kind of roll into each one. So once we get the gut on track, then anti-inflammatory foods like foods rich in antioxidants and omega-3s are really going to help reduce inflammation in your joints. So foods like leafy greens, fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, your seeds and nuts, those are going to really help reduce that inflammation as much as possible. And then we want to remove those inflammatory foods, like unprocessed or processed foods, sugars, unhealthy fats. Those are directly, if we get rid of those, they're really going to directly alleviate arthritis symptoms. So getting rid of those, putting in the good, and that's just going to lead us into supplementation. So, there's such a wide variety of supplements out there that we are going to show you which ones we can choose. And it's going to be trial and error. We're going to look at what works for you, what doesn't. But we've got a list of ones that we've chosen that we know are going to support joint structure and repair, and they're going to help reduce inflammation and provide relief for your arthritis symptoms. So through this journey, we also want to help you identify trigger foods, so foods that may cause inflammation or worsen inflammation. So, as we go along the way, we'll help you identify some of those to see if we can and get them out of the diet and get on track.
The cleaning up your diet, getting it back to sort of more whole foods, cleaner eating, maybe less breading, less deep frying, getting rid of the refined sugars, all of that stuff will promote better function of the gut and the gastrointestinal system. But more importantly, it'll start to highlight the things that don't work well for you. So I'll give you an example of a patient I was talking to this week. He's switching over to him and his wife are really trying to go as much plant-based as possible. Their choice, has some health pros and cons, so be it. At the end of the day, they're on this kind of vegetarian path. He's feeling better. He's feeling his energy is up. His aches and pains are down. Lots of sort of improvement and positive outcomes. But then he was struggling the one day because he felt like he was doing well and he really, really enjoys a breaded chicken sandwich. So he has this breaded chicken sandwich and then feels sluggish and feels heavy and feels a little bit stiffer and a little bit achy, and he's blaming the chicken. The problem isn't necessarily the chicken. I said, you've introduced a whole bunch of things that you've taken away from your diet: the breading, the deep frying, the mayonnaise, the cheese, the white bread, like the breading on the chicken. So he's insulted the system and he's feeling the impact of it, but then he's kind of triggering on maybe I really have to stay off the meat. Maybe it's the white bread, maybe it's the cheese. So when you do have, it's that kind of self-awareness that we're trying to get you to think about is, how do you feel after you eat something? Because we all have foods that we love. I love chicken wings. And it's my little treat food. But if I indulge too many at one time, I feel rumbly in my gut. I feel sluggish after, and I start to pay the price for it. But if I wasn't aware of what it felt like to feel good, and this is what our friend who's dabbling in this vegetarian construct, he's starting to know what makes him feel good. But you have to be a little bit pickier when you identify what doesn't make you feel good. So being aware, and that's where that kind of nutrition piece of creating a bit of a log, trying to make small little improvements, but also recognizing when, all of a sudden the grandkids have a birthday party and you have some cake and some ice cream and some sweets, how do you feel? Right? How do you feel the next day? Or when it's a backyard barbecue and it's the hot dogs and the hamburgers and the processed cheese and the, how does that feel and what is the impact on you? If you start recognizing that, you'll start feed forwarding into your own healthy choices. So you start looking at that and going, all right, I can have that hot dog, but I'm not going to have the second one.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm going to have the second one without the white bread. But trying to identify those things will really help you along in that area.
Absolutely. And this is where we had yesterday in our lesson, about journaling, what you're eating, just trying to keep track. It's a great habit to get into. On some days when all of a sudden your gut's not feeling right, or you're sluggish, or you're tired, or something, you've got symptoms that you're not sure where they're coming from. You go back through that food journal and you can see exactly, usually those things happen within an hour, 2 hours after eating. So you'll be able to see those things happening right there. So it's a good tool to start using the food journal.
As we move through this program, as we do our little educational sessions here, we're going to talk about some things that not necessarily are all the be all and the end all, but things that do have some positive health outcomes, like intermittent fasting, or we'll talk about cold plunging. We'll talk about the use of heat and ice, all of these things that that have some scientific background, that work for some people. They don't necessarily work for all people. It's that awareness of, okay, I'm going to introduce this construct into my system. How does my body respond to it? And then what do I need to change to fine tune it and tweak it for me? Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So coming off of the gut health piece, the other 4 pillars that are stacked on top of that foundation of, core health, which is going to be our daily nutrition.
Yep. So nutrition and supplementation.
And then there's going to be movement, and there's going to be pain management. So all 4 of those things, and that's what makes this sort of our developing this program a little bit different. We feel in that there's so much information out there from a physiotherapist or from a chiropractor or from a personal trainer. There'll be a naturopath, there'll be a holistic nutritionist. You can kind of clutch and grab. We're going to try to bring it all together and get
To give you
everybody
the whole
working.
package, right?
Yes.
Because there are so many different aspects of it. There's not just one, one modality that will work for you. So by pulling those all together, we should have hopefully a good result.
Excellent. Some key areas that we think will really drive success. Daily routine, that sort of self-awareness and getting your sort of what we've just did some work today on some videos that we're going to roll out, that we're going to kind of have as the daily minimum lower body stretch, daily minimum lower body exercise. And then we've also done an upper body stretch and an upper body exercise that's going to incorporate a little bit of muscle lengthening and joint decompression, as well as muscle strengthening and functional improvement. As we move through and get an idea of where people are at, we want you to try these exercises. Let us know where you're at, because if it's something that's too rudimentary, too basic, we'll bring the next level and have a level 2 and a level 3. But those basics are going to give us some of the daily efforts that are going to increase the success rate of the program.
The movement that's
The daily
so
movement.
desperately needed. We become sore, or the body's tired or whatnot, and we instantly stop. We sit on the couch because we're tired, or back is sore, knees are sore. But really, what is it? Movement. Motion is lotion. Motion is lotion, right? So the more we use them, the better the result. The more we sit and not move, the achier, the more sore we're going to become, and that inflammation will go up as well. So we've got they're basic videos. They will take 20 minutes in total. They're 5 minutes for each section. So the daily 5 is what we're going to.
Yes. So the daily 5 is a sort of little checklist that we'd like you to get involved in, so that you can check the boxes that at the bare minimum, did I check these boxes on each day, which are going to help me move forward in my management of arthritis. So number 1 is, did you get a stretch in? Number 2, did you perform some sort of strengthening activity? Number 3, did you perform a small amount up to 20 minutes of continuous movement, or what we would call cardio, but just active, continuous, low intensity movement? Number 4, did you document and manage your nutrition? And number 5, did you keep up with your supplementation? Okay. So we're going to send out a list of these. There's actually a great little app on the phone that we've learned about from another coaching business that we've been involved with. What's it called?
Habit.
It's called Habit.
Yeah.
It can be downloaded. You can set your own. Kim's got hers here if you want to show the screen.
Yeah, so you can see. Let me just go back. Yeah, so this is just what I have on. Oh, you can't see it.
Oh,
It's too bright. Yeah. So
right there.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can just put in whatever. I just have my own personal goals, but you just put in, so those 5, the daily 5, you pop in there, and every time you do one, you just click on it and it checks it off for you.
Okay.
And just
Now, this is just called Habit.
Habit.
So
Yeah,
if you look in your app store, it'll show up there called Habit.
okay.
It'll take you 5 or 10 minutes to set it up, and you can put your daily 5, and you basically click the date, and you check the boxes, and then it'll show you that on this day you hit 5 out of 5, and on that day you hit 4 out of 5.
It's a great way to keep track. It's easy, and especially with it being on your phone, if you're on the go, it's easy just to tap and go.
So for our business coaching that we've been doing, he has a couple. We have a list of 5 that we're trying to do, and it was interesting. We've been doing this for about 6 months, and all of a sudden we realized we kind of got comfortable with it to the point that we stopped using the app, and then we were kind of doing a little bit of review and goal setting. We looked back, we're like, wait a minute. All of a sudden, after doing something for 3 or 4 months every day to the point that it became habit and second nature, we were missing a couple. So we had to go back and sort of revisit. So that's what it does. It gives you that opportunity to kind of check and make sure. And it builds that kind of start of the day reminder of, okay, at some point today, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And if you do that, the promise is that you'll see some consistent improvement over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
From the perspective of getting the ball rolling, do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
Just on the yogurt.
The yogurt, okay.
Real yogurt tastes awful.
Well, did you see what Helena did today? She put a little bit of cinnamon and some berries in hers, and it was good.
Yeah,
And I'm not a fan of plain yogurt, and I could take it.
yeah. Well, I went to eat some of it because my wife gone out and bought it, and I went, I'm not sure whether I'm going to eat this or not. She says, I got some frozen berries. I said, let's get the berries. So I got it down. So
Okay, that's
Okay.
good. And just start with a
That's
little bit. It
good.
doesn't have to be a lot, but there's just some really good bacteria in it. Really, it's going to help your gut. And good for you. So, yeah, throw in more berries
What
in
it-
the beginning if you need to.
Sorry, that's
okay.
right.
So well, that was the thing I was going to ask about was whether it was all right to put berries in it. I did it anyway. But
Absolutely. Yes.
now, what exactly is yogurt? What do they make that out of?
It's a milk product, and there's just active bacteria in it. So it's,
Oh,
yeah, you started with it like it's a starter. Oh, let's see,
What's that?
yogurt. And the yogurt it's just active bacteria.
Yeah, so part of the fermentation process when yogurt is produced is going to actually breed bacteria that it turns out is healthy for our gut. So our gut health is it's always a constant flux and battle between good bacteria and bad bacteria. So when there's so much actual healthy bacteria in our intestinal system that is actually a big part of chewing things up and getting it down to its constituent components so that it can be absorbed into the bloodstream. So if there is an imbalance between sort of bad bacteria, which we can be introduced with just unhealthy food, mold, or it can be impacted by if we have an infection, yeast. If we have a sickness and there's a rush of bacteria through our system, if the bad bacteria is high, it actually competes with and then destroys the good bacteria, which is helping to break down our food. So we do have healthy bacteria in the system. So introducing healthy bacteria into our diet allows that fight to be won in the digestive system to keep the healthy bacteria up here, which then suppresses the bad bacteria.
Okay.
So there's a really common issue that comes up after people have an infection and they go on antibiotics because the antibiotics crush
Kills
everything.
every good
Yeah.
ugly bacteria in your body.
And that allows the little bits of bad bacteria that we breathe in, that we touch, we're constantly invaded with little bugs. And our immune system fights them off and beats them. But if the balance is off in the gut and the bad bacteria is outnumbering, we run into issues.
It's going to weaken that immune system and make it hard to heal.
So finding to start off that Kim's Gut, you guys started with it's the Greek yogurt. Yeah.
Yep.
That's just a safe, healthy, no sugar added option to introduce some of the good, or what we call the normal flora, back into our intestinal system. So little things like that are natural, that are easy. If you can figure out a way to make them taste good. But again, that same kind of construct, you don't want to bring that home and dump 3 tablespoons of brown sugar into it, because then you're negating the benefit. But some whole food, natural berries, frozen or fresh.
You know, you can add nuts and seeds to it as well.
Yep. Some ground flax.
Like Elena did cinnamon, a little cinnamon, nutmeg. Yeah, you can get creative with some stuff around the kitchen, just as long as it's not sugar.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
Sounds good.
that's a great question, and that's
Yeah.
a great start of just taking that small piece and introducing it. Figure out a way to make it tasty and consistent.
What about Joan saying it's just the refined sugar that we can't take? What about honey?
Yeah, honey is fine, and so is maple syrup.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maple
We just
syrup?
we want it in small amounts.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yep, but again, if you want to drizzle a little bit of honey over top of your Greek yogurt, absolutely.
Good.
Okay.
Any
Okay,
other questions that you guys are thinking of right now? I know we're just.
I don't have a question, but I have I'm in a high flare up right now, so I've got fairly significant inflammation going on. So I had a cortisone shot in my left knee today, and for the first time, my doctor used an ultrasound, and so I could actually see, and he looked at me and he goes, "So it's a good thing you came in because it's really inflamed." So I've had those before and they're very effective, but I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, but I'm gonna wait for my other knee and really concentrate on the next 4 weeks,
Okay.
to see what happens to my left knee is the worst one.
Okay.
The right knee is, I can see the fluid and I know it's inflamed, but I'm going to try and really focus because I'm active. So the exercise part isn't hard for me, but I'm not great with the nutrition part. So I'm going to see if this really makes a difference.
Okay.
I'm going to, because I've got the two knees to kind of compare now
Right.
and just see if really following the guidance and the gut routine and the supplements, which I do take, I'm going to see if it makes a difference in this right knee before I go back and say, can I get a shot?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just recorded a video today that will roll out tomorrow on flare-up management. So we'll make sure that we get that live in school. Have a look for that tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
great.
Friday. That's Friday's class, but it'll be in there.
Okay.
You can look ahead to. And
Okay.
We're going to get that downloaded and it'll be in there. So you'll be able to look that up anyway. We kind of have an order that we're going through.
No,
But
that's great.
I would rather hear, or we would rather hear about a crisis situation now because
Absolutely.
if we can.
we can
So
help.
what you'll want to be doing, so your activity level is high. When we did our call with you, you talked, you
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
do Aquafit, you walk.
Yep.
You're chasing grandchildren, all that stuff.
Yep. All that stuff.
So do you have a pain management routine for these times when you're struggling? Like obviously you've seen the doctor and you've got your cortisone.
But what are you doing when you come home?
What's your daily routine to take care of a sore knee?
Usually I will have an Epsom salt bath and
Mhm.
then I'll put ice or heat, whichever feels the best. And the only thing I take for pain is arthritic strength, Tylenol.
Okay. So
I have the Celebrex as a backup for like the inflammation, but
So
that's
if,
it.
if it's inflamed, some Celebrex might be the time to help with that.
Right.
Know there's fluid in there. You have a diagnostic image of that. They did an image guided injection. Yeah, they were using the ultrasound.
Today, yeah. Yeah.
So the inflammation's there, so you don't necessarily have to fight the aggressive fight against the Celebrex right now. So
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 days of just to see if we can knock the inflammation down. Do you have any a neoprene sleeve or anything that you can use for?
I do.
This is the time to be wearing that as close to 24/7 as you can. So
Okay.
when the joint is wanting to swell, it's in an active process where swelling is being produced. Gentle compression, as many hours of the day as possible, will stop the additional fluid from holding there. And
Okay. Good.
compression, then also you want to get as many times a day, even just for 5 or 10 minute windows, to get reclined and get that knee elevated. And that'll help the fluid drain. So that could be just in a recliner or flat out.
Right.
So if you work your rest, ice, compress, and elevate at several intervals throughout each day, a good time to do it is after your exercise. It's okay to exercise through some discomfort, but make sure you attack the inflammation that might have been aggravated by the exercise.
Okay. Fair enough.
Put that into your exercise routine and even around your meal plans. Like to basically say, okay, I'm going to sit down, have my breakfast or my coffee or my tea. I'm gonna ice this knee and get it up in the air
and elevate it while you're eating.
And then lunchtime will come around. I just finished my walk. Maybe the walk's a little shorter because the knee is sore, but then you give yourself some time to put some ice on it.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll let you know how it works.
Yeah. Well, the real key when we have pain is to modify and then attack the pain, because you want that gone. Flare-ups I just recorded this message. Flare-ups are going to happen. What we do about them to reduce the time frame of the flare-up is how we actually control what arthritis is going to be like 10 years down the road. If every time the knee is sore, it takes 15 days for it to feel better, that's 15 days with reduced activity. If you can turn that into 5 days, that's only 5 days of reduced activity. And that's 10 more days you got back where you're walking and moving without pain. And I think you mentioned one of your struggles was that strength associated with going up and down stairs, right?
Yep. Going up the stairs it's not easy, but it's worse coming down.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard on the knees.
And that is that is a high compressive load activity. When we come down the stairs, our muscles are much more active than they are when we're going up. So
Okay.
we think that it's so much push to get up the stairs, but stopping ourselves from falling squeezes everything tight, and then we slowly relax as the knee bends. But during that time is the maximum amount of compression on the knee.
Okay.
Come down the stair.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's the heaviest load there that you want to sort of manage. So 2 hands on the railing, 1 step at a time. You don't need to piss that knee off every single step that you take. You want to really just
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, because we do, as we struggle with arthritis, we get tougher, right? You know,
You push through the pain.
I know Peter personally. I have no doubt he's sore today, but he was still on a ladder at some point. Right? so we get tougher. We realize we still got to move. We still got to go, but you have to be a little bit sensitive and aware, and put the plan in place so that normal function comes back as quickly as possible. And then once normal function is back, then we can strengthen. Right? We can't strengthen if we're in pain. Our body will fight us too much. Okay.
Yep.
There's some tips for you for the next couple of days. We'll be able to review that on Thursday as well. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, keep us
Excellent.
posted on that.
Okay.
Any other questions, you guys, or comments?
Nope, I'm good.
All
Okay.
right, Peter, how about you?
Well, she's talking about getting a cortisone shot. And I know years ago I had to get cortisone in my ankle. And of course, me being me, I went out and thought, oh, this is great. And went right back at doing everything else. And of course, it flared up again. So we wanted to go in for another one. He said, yeah, I'll give you another one. And then he put a cast on me.
Oh, he
It's
said,
there.
nope, we're not going to do any of that again.
Yeah, he says, that's it. You're not walking on it. So I went, no, okay. He says, you don't give it a chance to do its job. So anyway, he put a cast on me, and it worked out well. So
I bet it did.
we
So
gotta be
cortisone
careful.
it's a powerful anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, yeah.
50% of the time for 50% of people.
Doesn't work for everybody.
So the success rate is there, but what happens to some people is if the cortisone is very effective for you, it will take all your pain away, and it'll knock the swelling down, but it doesn't do anything about the reason that swelling and pain was there to begin with, which is probably arthritis, and at some point you probably did something to aggravate it. So
It's a temporary.
in your case, Peter, it knocked the pain and inflammation out. You went and started pounding the ankle,
Yeah.
and bam, you took it to the next level where even the cortisone couldn't fight it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very tricky situation. Same thing with when you take Celebrex or Tylenol or Advil.
You feel good in the moment.
You
right?
feel good in the moment, but you can't use it as I'm going to take this so that I can run.
Yeah.
Because then you're just continually tearing apart the joint, right? If you have to take some Tylenol, or if you're or Celebrex, or if you're in that cortisone situation, then the resting, stretching, icing, self-care time is really important for, say, 4 to 6 to 7 days to get it under control. Then you reintroduce your activity.
Yeah.
It's all kind of part of that, recognizing what the chemical is doing
Yeah.
or making sure that you're supporting that. So it has a role in the world, but it becomes it's no different than somebody who starts taking Advil, then they switch to Tylenol, then it's extra strength Tylenol, you know, and the scale goes right up to OxyContin, Percocet, and now you're an addict. Because the pain level just goes up and up and up to the point that you need to fight it with something bigger. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, practice some of that stuff, Helena. It'll help the impact of that cortisone do its job. And it'll also ensure that you're doing the right things to get back into action quickly.
Well, the biggest tip that you gave me was the neoprene sleeves. I have them, but I don't wear them on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is that time where it's kind of like, okay, I still have to, there's certain things I have to do. With you mentioned the grandkids.
Yeah.
You still want to be moving around, but getting some of that support. It also, when we put compression on a joint, when a joint is swollen, it's wobbly. The information to and from the brain, you'll feel it, right? If it's swollen, you kind of feels unstable, unsteady. That's because of the structures in the joint that are sending information to the brain are being stretched by the swelling. So the information is wrong. So your brain doesn't know exactly where that knee is. But scientifically, if we put compression on the knee or we put tape on the knee, if we support the knee, we actually increase the information to the brain. There's less risk of a fall.
Okay,
Last
Sounds
thing, last thing you need on a flared up knee that's just had cortisone is to land on it.
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
So this is the time to wrap it, support it, keep the swelling down, and everything will move forward quicker.
Okay,
Okay?
Awesome.
Yep.
Excellent. These are exactly the kind of things we want to go through,
Yeah.
the hurdles we want to help you manipulate and get over. And that way we can kind of get through these little hiccups in life quicker.
Mhm.
So good. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thanks, guys.
no problem.
So you go grab an ice pack, and Peter, you go eat some yogurt, and
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Okay, take care.
fire away with any questions. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Okay?
All right, take care.
Okay,
Bye bye.
so,
Guys.
you still on, John?
Yep, still here.
Okay, so you guys are sending something to me so that I can go online and see these exercises and all this sort of stuff?
So it's all going to be in school.
It's gonna be in school? Okay,
So those will be, I'm gonna put another module in down the side where you see, like our lessons this week. There'll be another module at the bottom with the exercises, and we'll have it,
okay.
and the daily 5 too, we'll have down there. So
The
it'll all be
daily
there
5.
for you.
So you get to do your favorite thing on the work on the computer.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Oh, joy.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thanks a ton.
Okay,
Have a
Yeah.
great night.
We'll
We'll
see
see
you
you
Thursday.
there.
nice seeing you, Helena.
Oh, I think she's
Think
finished.
she's gone?
She might be gone, yes.
It froze there.
It's still showing her.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think she might have froze. So
Okay, you guys have a good day, and how do I sign off here?
I'll just turn the quick-
I'll
there'll
log
be,
off here.
there'll be an end button there somewhere.
All right. Good night, guys.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.